what is BIAN and why is it important?
Yeah, thank you, Nissan. Thanks for great to be here. Thanks everyone for joining. So for those who don't know, BIAN originates out of 2008 when the entire Agile movement really started going. And back then, a number of vendors, so they thought together that if you build architecture within banks, about 80% of the kind of blueprint, the same way you build a building, you create a blueprint for your house. You can also create a blueprint for your IT, your business flows, your services. So the idea was of these vendors is to make one blueprint that you can reuse for the various services you have within your organization or within your bank, financial service institute, and reuse that same blueprint for the various organizations. So you only have to create one blueprint rather than every organization, every bank having to create their own blueprint. And they discovered that about 80% of the services within financial institutes are the same. A payment process is for about 80% the same within each bank. So rather than all creating the same thing again and again, let's create one set from which we all agree that's the right and proper way to do so, and leverage that reusability of those that architecture, those building blocks. So that's already 2008, which sounds ages ago. And since then, they've been building, I see now 327 service domains. So they've made a lot of, so if it's a payment process, if it's how to create a mortgage, if it's a mobile payment, you name it, they created all these service layouts of what's in it. How do you create it? How do you describe it? How do you connect it? They also started building APIs. So how do you connect with other services, or how do you connect with external partners, you name it. And you basically have one common ground with, I think, over 100 members now, over 100 financial institutes that all think on how to best do this, rather than all these institutes, all these organizations having to do it by themselves. So that creates a lot of reusability. It's highly efficient, very fast. So that is what BIAN is and where it comes from, and why I think it's growing so rapidly at the moment.
It's very good to hear Moritz talk about BIAN. Like, we have a script, Moritz, of explaining what BIAN is, but it's good to hear a slightly different way of explaining what BIAN is. I really like your concept about what creating a blueprint, and that's exactly right, that the bank wanted to create a blueprint. And only thing that I'll add is when we think about what banking is, I think what a bank does not change. Every bank does exactly what a bank is supposed to do. What does changes from bank to bank is how we do it, and which is how we leverage those which is the capabilities differently to do something different, add value for our customer and generate value for the customer. And I'll add to that what BIAN talks about is how we do is the business scenario. So how we bring these capabilities together to do something is different. And BIAN starts with has already started giving as a typical way you could use this capabilities with each other, which is using your service operation and integrations between these capabilities, which they have already enabled. But how they do it, they've given a typical scenario saying this is how you could do KYC, this is how you could originate mortgage, this is how you can do current account servicing part of it. But every bank can go ahead, take that and make the changes and do it differently. And the other one, which I find very interesting, and maybe some of our listeners would be interested in also, is with payments coming, and all organization banks needs to comply with the ISO, especially depending on the geographies they are in. The APIs, which just Moritz mentioned, they are BIAN, they are ISO aligned. So the business objects that we have in ISO, they are the same business objects in BIAN as well, which means that if you adopt BIAN, if any organization chooses to adopt BIAN, they would be ISO compliant on the journey of the ISO compliant as well. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you.